Right now, as you're watching this video, there is a countdown happening in Washington that almost nobody is talking about. A clock that started ticking years ago, and it is set to go off in exactly 2032. On that date, if nothing changes, every single person collecting Social Security in America, your parents, your grandparents, maybe even you, will see their monthly check slashed by 22%. Not a rumor, not a conspiracy theory. This is written in black and white inside the official 2026 Social Security Trustees Report. And the scariest part? Most Americans have no idea this deadline even exists. So if you or someone you love depends on that check every month, stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to show you could change how you plan the rest of your life. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down one of the most urgent financial stories of 2026. The real, documented crisis facing Social Security and exactly what it means for your money. Here's what's happening. Social Security has always worked on a simple idea. Workers today pay into the system, and that money funds the retirees of today. But that balance is breaking. Back in 1960, there were 5 workers supporting every one retiree. Today, in 2026, that number has crashed down to under 3 workers per retiree, and it keeps shrinking every single year. Americans are living longer than ever, retiring earlier, and the workforce simply isn't growing fast enough to keep up. Because of this imbalance, the trust fund that backs Social Security, the safety net behind your safety net, is being drained faster than anyone predicted. The trustees now say this fund will run completely dry in the year 2032. That's not decades away. For many of you watching, that is well within your working lifetime or your retirement. So what happens when the money runs out? Here's the part that should get your attention. Social Security doesn't just disappear, but the law says it can only pay out what it collects in real time through payroll taxes. Once the trust fund hits zero, benefits are automatically cut to match incoming revenue. And according to official projections, that cut is 22% across the board for every single beneficiary, no exceptions. Let that sink in for a second. If you're expecting $2,000 a month in retirement, a 22% cut means you lose over $400 every single month. For a married couple, that loss can climb past $10,000 a year. That's rent. That's groceries. That's medication. Gone, unless something changes before that deadline arrives. Now here's the twist almost nobody mentions. This isn't the first time we've heard warnings like this. Congress has known about this problem for decades and has consistently kicked the can down the road. But this year, the projected depletion date actually moved 1 year earlier than last year's report. Why? Because of new tax legislation that reduced how much revenue flows into the trust fund. In other words, recent policy decisions are quietly speeding up the clock, even while lawmakers stay mostly silent about it in public. There is some hope, though. Lawmakers on both sides have introduced a bipartisan commission bill specifically designed to force Congress into action before the fund runs dry. Whether it passes in time is still an open question. But one thing is clear. The people in charge of fixing this know exactly how serious it is. The question is whether they'll act before 2032 or whether millions of Americans will simply wake up one day to a smaller check with no warning. So what should you actually do with this information? First, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. If you're close to retirement, this is exactly the moment to sit down and rework your numbers, factoring in a possible future cut. If you're younger, this is your sign to build additional income streams beyond Social Security, because relying on it alone in 20 years is a risky bet. And most importantly, stay informed, because policy can change fast, and the people who react early are always the ones who protect themselves best. That's the real story behind the 22% number everyone's starting to talk about. If this video opened your eyes even a little, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss the next update on this story, and drop a comment telling me, are you worried about this deadline, or do you think Congress will step in before 2032? I read every single comment, and I'll see you in the next video.